Now we will discuss what is the EMF that is induced in the DC machine. EMF is generated in a DC generator, right? Electrical power is generated in the DC generator, while in a DC motor mechanical power is developed. So when we say EMF, we are talking about the DC generator. If you take a single conductor, let us say this is moving with a velocity v, and this conductor, let us say it is placed in a magnetic field of B bar. Okay, so we are taking as into the plane, magnetic field direction is into the plane. Then what will be the induced EMF on this conductor? E induced, we are only talking about the magnitude here. So this is going to be BL into V. What is B here? This is the magnetic field density, and L is the length of the conductor, and finally V is the velocity with which it is moving, velocity of the conductor. Now this is the induced EMF in a single conductor. Okay. Now if you consider a DC generator, a number of conductors, they will be in series, right? So let us say there are a total of Z conductors in the machine. Let Z be the total number of conductors in the DC machine, and A be the number of parallel paths. So how many parallel paths will there be for a lap winding? It will be equal to the number of poles, and for a wave winding it will simply be 2, right? For lap winding, A is equal to number of poles, and for wave winding A is equal to 2. Okay. Now when there are A number of parallel paths and there are Z number of conductors, then how many conductors will be present in each parallel path, right? So it is going to be Z by A. This is one parallel path, and next you have another parallel path, and so on till you have A number of paths. Okay. Now in each of the parallel paths, if there are Z by A, then Z by A into A number of parallel paths will give you the total number of conductors Z. Now across each of this conductor there is a induced EMF BLV. Okay. Now what will be the total EMF across this? This is going to be Z by A times induced EMF across each and every conductor. So you can write induced EMF in the generator this is equal to the number of conductors in each parallel path into the voltage induced across each conductor. So that is going to give you Z by A into BLV. Now what is V here? It is the linear velocity, but this is a rotating machine. So we want in terms of angular velocity. So what we will do, how can we express the linear velocity in terms of angular velocity? We know that linear velocity is equal to radius into angular velocity. Okay. So V is equal to R omega. R is the radius and omega is the angular velocity. So then we will get E induced is equal to Z by A into B L into R omega. Now this we will slightly modify. Z by A omega you can take out, into B into L R you can write as 2 pi R L divided by 2 pi. You are just multiplying and dividing by 2 pi. Now what is 2 pi R L? This is the curved surface area of the rotor. Okay. And B into the curved surface area of the rotor. What will it give you? It will give you the flux. So you can write here 2 pi R L is the curved surface area of rotor. So B into 2 pi R L will give you the total flux. Okay, so you can write E induced as, therefore E induced is equal to Z by 2 pi A into phi omega. Further you can write E induced is equal to Z by 2 pi A into phi P into P into omega. Here phi P is the flux per pole and P is the number of poles. So flux per pole into number of poles will give you the total flux, where phi P is the flux per pole. So then finally what you're going to get, E induced is equal to Z P by 2 pi A into phi P into omega. So here Z, P and A, these are all constants of the machine. 2 pi is anyways a constant. So phi and omega here are the variables, and E induced is going to be proportional, directly proportional to the flux as well as the velocity, the angular velocity. This is the final expression, but often it is also written as some constant K into phi P omega. Okay, where K is nothing but Zp by 2 pi A, where K is equal to Zp by 2 pi A. Now omega is the angular velocity, and what will be the units? This will be in radians per second. We will be using one more term which is also the angular velocity, but its readings, its units are revolutions per minute, that is RPM, right? So this is also one common unit. So what is one revolution? One revolution is equal to 2 pi radians. Okay, so we can get a relation between these two. Omega will be equal to 2 pi n by 60. Okay, so this is one important relationship. So now instead of omega, you substitute this 2 pi n by 60 in the induced EMF. Then what will you get? E induced, this we got as Zp by 2 pi A into phi P into omega. So this is equal to Zp by 60A into phi P into n. Okay, so you can write induced EMF in terms of n as K dash into phi P n. Okay, what is K dash here? It is equal to Zp by 60A. Zp by 60A. Next we will discuss about the induced torque. That means it is going to be about DC motor, because torque is produced in a DC motor. Now if you consider a conductor which is carrying a current I, and this conductor is placed in a magnetic field B bar, then what will be the force experienced by this conductor? The force experienced, it is going to be only the magnitude if you consider IL into B. So this is the force experienced by the conductor. I is the current that the conductor is carrying, L is the length of conductor, and finally B is the magnetic field density. This is the force experienced. Now in a DC motor, what is being experienced by each of the conductors? It is the torque, right? Because if you consider, it is like a cylinder, the rotor will be like a cylinder, and each of the conductors, they are placed in the slots that are present in the rotor. Okay, now what is the axis of rotation? The axis of rotation will be the center axis. Now what is the distance from this axis of rotation to the conductor? It will be the radius of the armature core, right? So the torque will be equal to the radius, that is the distance from the axis of rotation into the force will give you the torque, right? So therefore torque is equal to R into F. Again we are considering only the magnitude here. So this is going to be R into ILB, where R is radius of armature. Now let us say the total current that is taken by the motor. Let us say this is the motor and this is taking a total current of IA. Okay, so IA means the armature current. Now if there are a number of parallel paths, let A be number of parallel paths of the winding. Okay, then what will be the current through each of the path? So let us say we have one path here and another path here and so on, like that we have a number of parallel paths. Now if a current IA is flowing through this, then since each of the parallel paths they are identical, what will be the current through each of the path? It will be divided equally. So IA by A. This is the current through each conductor. So you can write in DC motor, the torque induced on a single conductor. What will this be? This is going to be R into IA by A into LB. Then what will be the total torque on the machine or the DC motor? This is going to be the number of conductors into the torque that is experienced by each of the conductor, by single conductor, which is RIA by A into LB. So the number of conductors is Z. So you are going to get Z RIA by A into LB. Now just like in the case of EMF, induced EMF, what we have? ZIA by A, if you take out common, 2 pi RL by 2 pi you can write into B. Now B into 2 pi RL will give you the flux. So you are going to get the induced torque is equal to ZIA by 2 pi A into phi. And phi in turn you can write as flux per pole into number of poles. So here ZP by 2 pi A is the constant and IA and phi P are the variable quantities, right? So the torque, the total torque is given by KIA into phi P. So this is the important expression. You can see that the torque is directly proportional to the armature current and the flux per pole. So you can write here where K is equal to ZP by 2 pi A. Also you can write down IA is the total armature current. Okay, that is the total current that the armature draws from the supply, and phi P is the flux per pole.